So we're live. Hello, everyone who's joined so far. It's always difficult with live streams. People join in the middle or in the beginning. You never know who to greet and not to greet and say hello and how you doing and what's going on. But yeah, I guess I'll just start talking away like I do. So this is a live Q&A for everyone who is interested in the brand new F1S Series 1. This is the F1S Series 1 in Aston Martin colors. We offer different types of themes. If you want to, you can have pretty much anything. The standard top is a carbon fiber sheet where we don't apply a sticker. This is our sticker on there. You can see these are high quality vinyls that we have made here in the UK, and you can then apply the sticker onto that top edge here the way you like it. The front, we've also released a video showing how it's relatively easy to swap it out for any of the teams currently. These are all nicely laser cut acrylics. And the default look is completely blank. So it'll just have our little logo here on the bottom. And then you can have a sticker in there if you want to. This is basically it in terms of customizing it. The other option that we offer on this wheel is the type of grip. You can either go for a vegan smooth leather. This is what it looks like. These are hand wrapped and very durable, very comfortable too. And the grip itself, as you can tell here, if you've seen our previous F1S where we use the same grips, it hasn't changed really much in how it feels. So you still have that little in kind of I call it a shoulder, where when you turn the wheel, your hand can grip it there quite nicely. It just feels very nice around here. And yeah, it's quite an improvement over your standard Logitech round wheel. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I actually came up with changing wheels. I didn't like the way your thumb rests here. I always found this leather stitching here to be far too rough and uncomfortable. So yeah, back to options. This is what the suede grip looks like. And just to brush it up, because I've been handling it here. This is real leather, so we're not putting some fake stuff on here, which means also this will last for a long time if you treat it nicely, just like you would treat suede shoes or any suede leather. We get asked the question a lot, is it better to use smooth leather or suede leather? That really depends entirely on whether you want to use gloves or not. I recommend using racing gloves. It gives you a bit more purpose when you're racing, but at the same time, not only does it give you more purpose, it also protects the leather. And one thing that most people don't do, because it feels nice in the beginning, they race without gloves, and then the oils and the skin and sweat ends up in the leather, and then the leather goes flat, and then people don't brush it. But with just a very simple shoe brush for suede leather, you can bring up very flat leather. So I'll just try and demonstrate this. You see this, and then just brush it away and it's totally fine again. And over time, if you do this once in a while, they will last you for years and many, many racing hours. But yeah, the alternative is smooth leather like this, which is very long lasting and doesn't mind sweaty hands. So you'll be totally fine racing without any gloves. For people who haven't seen this yet, we have on the back magnetic paddle shifters. Have a listen. They're pretty silent. That's because we have a silicone damper under the actual contact area. So you don't really hear a thunk or a clunk. What you do hear is the micro switch, because this wheel is 99 pounds as you see it, except for the quick release, that's separate. But you can use this wheel just as is. And for 99 pounds, we had to put micro switches in here. In comparison, just to show you, this is our F1L. This is for direct drive. So here on the back, you can see the mount for a SimuCube. This is what I use for racing. This has Hall effect sensors. So they look and sound like this. Completely silent. So there's no clicking here at all. Apart from that, what else is there to say? Well, the biggest achievement, I would say, by far, is that the wheel is super, super light. So one of the problems we had with the old F1 wheel, or the idea behind the F1 wheel, I can show you what that looks like, is that you had to make a cage, a structure around the actual hub of the wheel that would go in there. Because you would reuse this back part and the center part of the Logitech wheel. And if you do this, then you have to really work around the fact that the whole thing is just one plate and it starts getting too soft. It starts to twist in torque. So then we made a reinforcement here on the top, reinforcement on the back, and that's how this wheel turned out to be relatively light, but yet strong enough. The problem is, though, it's still not super light because you still have that center section with all these heavy materials. And the Logitech wheelbase only has 2.3 Newton meters of torque. So everything you can save in terms of weight is a big gain. And so I'll just show you so you can see the comparison, how much lighter our wheel is and how much that's going to improve the force feedback on a Logitech wheelbase. So here we go. That's the weight of the wheel, 635 grams. We have attached to it now the quick release system, right? That's the same quick release that we have on the Logitech wheel. So again, just to compare it, 635, and then we're going to take this, same quick release. So there's no difference here, no advantage. And I hope you can see it. There you go. That's nearly 300 grams difference. And 300 grams distributed very differently on the wheel. And what I mean by that is, on this wheel, the weight is on the outside. And if you've ever tried to turn a heavy wheel, you will notice that when the wheel is the weight is outside, you've got much more momentum, inertia, to move it around, right? And because there's more inertia, the motor of the Logitech wheelbase has to work harder. And so what we naturally often do is we then turn up the force feedback in game. The problem with our Logitech wheelbase is it's very weak. And so as you turn it up to 10, usually that ends up with it starting to rattle and sound horrible. And so what you really want to do is you want to have it somewhere around 7 or so in game, for example, in Gran Turismo, so that you can still feel the actual force feedback and you understand when you're on the curb or when you're just about starting to lose traction. The lighter the wheel is and the more the weight is centered, the easier this is for the motor to actually move and therefore give you that sensation, the feeling. So a light wheel and the weight is distributed not all on the outside, but more centrally, because obviously, as you can tell, this is missing and this is missing. So, that makes a huge difference. And you will feel that difference. That makes really a huge difference. And because we are not using that internal part anymore, we are also now free to use completely different layouts, right? The problem with this was always you're limited to where those dials are. And so any wheel you make or all those rim replacements you can buy, they all rely on this coming through. And then you have those ugly holes. And I mean, I'm not saying that our wheel was terrible, but honestly, I never liked having to make holes in my wheels. And so this was kind of a workaround for having to reuse this. But yeah, I mean, this is a completely different wheel now. By the way, you can see the grips here. So the shape and the outlines are very similar to the old wheel. I wanted to maintain that. But overall, the difference is, of course, now we have our own internal logic here. And that makes a huge difference in terms of the buttons layouts. People keep asking, do they all work? Yes, they all work. So these rotaries, as you can see, are self-centering. So you have a click here, a click there. Yes, full rotational rotaries is something that we're looking into, but honestly, this is not something that can be done at this price point, and is not that great when racing, if I'm honest. Personally, especially this here was extremely imprecise because Logitech didn't do a great job here in the electronics department. You might have noticed when you play games that this doesn't really respond well. That's because it's not a very good encoder. So instead of trying to replicate this, we said, you know what, we'll just do momentary clicks. And so if you want to change, for example, traction control or ABS, 2 clicks right, and you're done. I find that much more precise than having to kind of guess around how far I'm turning, even if there's a good detent on it. But at that point, if you have a good detent, then what's the point? You might have, just buttons. Yes, sure, here you go. Very short throw. That's intentional because it's an F1 wheel. You can reach it with 2 fingers quite easily. And you can adjust just by a little bit, whether you want the paddle further in or further out. There you go. Buttons as well. These are actually very good quality buttons. And these are 4-way switches here. So you have left, right, up, down. And then depending on whether it's PlayStation, you'd have a triangle, square, circle, X. And if it's Xbox, then you have the A, Y, B, or I don't actually know. I don't play a lot on the Xbox. No, you don't need the quick release. So this is a question we get a lot. Do you need this quick release? No, that's not a requirement. The quick release is entirely optional. So if you prefer to have one wheel, this, and then you're not going to use this anymore, totally fine, not a problem. You don't have to order this part. So what you get on the back side, I will show you. This is, for example, our F1L without a quick release. This is what it looks like on the back. You can see we're using the same back. So this would be mounted directly onto your Logitech motor mount. When and if you want to upgrade later to a quick release, you can just buy the S2 adapter. This is the S2 adapter, and you can mount this onto here, and then it's quick release enabled. The thickness of this, the whole hub, this is very, very solid. And the reason is because we use this, of course, for direct drive systems as well. So this, for example, here is attached to a SimuCube quick release. And my SimuCube can do up to around 17 Newton meters of torque. And I have tested it to be sure that it will survive. And it does. It doesn't even flex. I mean, this is rock solid. These are polyurethane cast grips, and there's a very solid core in there. You have 3 connection points. The whole enclosure here is also interlocked. And then on top, you have this massive distribution here on the back over 6 bolts. Oh, I didn't put the bolts in there. There you go. This is how little you need. 4 bolts. And the whole thing's still solid on a SimuCube. So there you go. Yeah. So you don't need it. That's entirely optional. If you want to, you can absolutely use it later on. Yes, you will be able to use this on a CSL DD. At the moment, we still require the podium hub because the CSL DD, the DD CSL, sorry, does not accept wheels that are third party. The force feedback is disabled. But my electronic wizards in Hungary have finished an adapter, which we will start selling in March, which will fit in here, or we'll attach it on the back, I'm not quite sure. And that will allow you to use this on a direct drive on a CSL without the podium hub. It will be recognized entirely. Does the display work on PS5? Yes, it does. And let me show you. We have a fantastic software engineer, Dexter, who developed the whole software that you see here in the back. So if you go into here, you'll see under the menu, we have a separate mode just for Gran Turismo GT7. And you can also switch this to, if you still prefer, GT Sport. It's all there. All right, and then you can disable the support if you want to as well. Oh, there's a lot more here, but we have a whole video for this. Yes, G920 compatible, absolutely. So yeah, you can standby image. I think this is something that most people don't know. You can have your own logos here. as well as your favorite team. And you can set that as your own, but you can also, we have the option to do your entirely own graphics. You can upload it. We have a SimHub plugin that allows you to put your custom image in here if you want to. Not a problem. We have a video for all of that, so it's not something I'm going to explain now, but you can see it. So yeah, this is currently running a demo program just to show you the flag LEDs, right? The different options with our rev lights and the screen. And there's different designs for that as well. So yeah, back to the F1S. As I explained before, one important point here is the weight. How do you set up the display on a computer and put it in PS5 or is it plug-in? It works over Wi-Fi. So we have a full manual explaining how this works, as well as a YouTube setup tutorial. You just need to set the IP address of your PlayStation for the display, and then it'll connect over a wireless network and get the UDP data from the PlayStation. It's as simple as that. So it's nothing complicated at all. You don't need a plugin. You don't need a computer. This was really important that it's standalone. It's something no one else offers, as far as I know. I'm not going to now beat the drum here that we are the world's best and leading engineering team here, but I don't think there's a standalone PlayStation compatible and Xbox and so on screen out there. All of them require PC, need to be plugged in via a USB cable. So this is completely independent. So what else is there to say? Is the wheel diameter the same? Yeah, well, not quite. Let me show you. It's not, I would say roughly. It really depends because the grips, I don't know if you can see this, the grips are slightly different. So we are at 290, 290, I think. Is it 290 millimeters or 285? I need to check that, but pretty much the same. However, there's a limit to what you can do with this. You know, you can put it onto 8 Newton meters. I think that'll do just fine. We tested it on more than that. It doesn't flex, so this is very solid, but it's not meant for proper direct drive systems, which have 10 plus Newton meters. You need something like this. In fact, our chief designer in the Netherlands, Joost, is actually listening in on this, and he's the one who designed these wheels in terms of the looks, and he's using it currently, I think, on a SimMagic direct drive. I'm not quite sure. He might write it in the comments. So yeah, there's a limitation on how much torque you can put into this. So this is primarily meant for people who have a Logitech wheelbase and are interested in somewhere down the line maybe upgrading to direct drive. Just to show you, this is what the motor mount side looks like on the G series. And yeah, this is a separate part. So if you order the quick release, you have to buy this separately. Depends on, you know, your wheelbase. And then for the wheel, you have either an S1 adapter. And the S1 adapter, by the way, is the adapter that goes onto the stock wheel, right? And if you want then to connect any of our wheels, doesn't matter which one, either the F1L or the F1S, or if you want to connect the GTS, all of these wheels, they all need an S2 adapter. So this is the S2 adapter, right? Series 2. And although this might be a bit confusing, that we call it an S1 adapter when you need an S2 for Series 1, this is because, well, legacy basically. When we started off, we didn't know we're going to expand into so many wheels, but they've become very popular. So there you go. That's the main reason. Yeah. Do you have any other questions for the F1S? Is there anything else you'd like to know? Details in regards to how you can use it, or let me show you, if I haven't done this already, Here, this is what the different leathers look like. So you can have vegan suede. This is suede, and then you can have vegan smooth. These are the two options. If you prefer using gloves, I would recommend this. This is much nicer. If you have sweaty hands, or if you just don't want to be using gloves, go for the vegan option. It's just as durable and also very nice. Yeah, so let me maybe show you just the custom options here for the top. So the wheel will be shipped out to you without a sticker applied. You'll have just the carbon fiber strip. This is real 3K twill carbon fiber with a glossy finish. You can see this is inserted in here. And you can then you can maybe name the quick release, like you said, Legacy. Yeah, we will. I mean, we're going to probably rename it, I think so, but I don't want to confuse everyone now because we've been around for a while. Will I plan? Yes, of course, I'll demo this. No worries. We're designing these wheels and then manufacturing them. People just want to have them as fast as possible. So there's not really time to do videos and editing and Instagram and TikTok. And I'm doing everything myself, so there's a limit. But I have prepared a sizzle reel where you can actually see it in action. And we will also be demoing this on Fanatec's DDCSL pretty soon. As my team in Hungary that developed the electronics so that we can use it on Fanatec without a podium hub. And you'll see it in action there as well. The weight of the wheel versus stock G29 wheel. Oh, let me show you. If you haven't seen this, I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy to show you this. So this is quite important because, as you know, force feedback depends very much on the weight of the wheel. So let's have a look. Professional kitchen scale. So this is the F1S with quick release, mind you, okay? So we're going to put that on the scale. There you go. 635 grams. And now we're going to compare this to the stock wheel, okay, with a quick release. So it's fair. It's the exact same attachment. There's no difference. And let me show you this. Right, there you go. Let me see if the camera picks this up. There you go. So 973 grams, okay? That's 300 grams difference here. Oh, what are the little dots on the left and the right of the F1 wheel? That's very simple. These are four-way switches. There you go, up, down, left, right. They're very grippy. You can see the texture here. So it's very easy to get in there. And those are mapped and accordingly. So this one is mapped like here. You have X for down, triangle up, square, and circle. If it's a G29. If it's a G920, then these are mapped to the Xbox buttons. I still don't know them. I don't play Xbox. And then on here we have a directional pad. So this is up, down, left, right. Straightforward. And the other thing that we have here is double mapping of the buttons. So when you buy the 920, you will know that the 920, for example, these buttons don't work, right? It also doesn't have plus minus, it doesn't have a rotary. So we didn't want to have any dead buttons or dead rotary, so we double mapped all of this. That means the most important functions are available on multiple buttons, and then you can map accordingly. If you prefer, you can have the mapping on here or here. So all of these work even on the 920. We made sure that everything works. And yeah, regarding the LED lights on this, these lights are flags, right? Racing flags. So depending on, what's going on, you can configure all of this. This is a demo program now running so that you can see what the display looks like. So I think, yeah, in terms of weight, that's obvious. As I explained, 300 grams difference. So, that's nothing to sneeze at if you look at that. And of course, that means when you race on your Logitech G series, you can dial down the force, and the advantage is that you're going to feel the force feedback much finer. You're not working at the limit of what that gear mechanical system can do. So your Logitech wheelbase won't be rattling around, and then you lose all definition of what is it. You'll just feel that it's rumbling and rattling, but you don't really know what's happening, right? So the less weight you have to move around, the finer you can, the less you can set the power for the force feedback, and the more you'll feel in the wheel, the more detailed it is. I mean, there's only so much you can do with the Logitech wheelbase. It's not a direct drive system, but if you reduce the weight, that makes a huge difference. You will feel that immediately. So yeah, that's 300 grams. And then what else is important is, of course, how the weight is distributed. So you have basically, all the weight on the round rim. That means there's lots of inertia, whereas here, the weight is really distributed evenly because the grips are super light. Just to give you an idea, that's the weight of a single grip, right? Yeah, here we go. There's 2 grips. There you go. That's 120 grams. So it's like, that's, nothing. Versus if you just take the wheel on the Logitech wheel, just that is super heavy. In fact, the center part, the plasticky part here with the metal paddles, is not so heavy. That's actually relatively manageable. But yeah, so this is super light. And yeah, that means you're basically getting a third of the power extra on your G29 or G920 or 923. Yeah, it definitely will give you more feedback, finer feedback. I mean, as a recommendation, don't dial up, in, let's say, GT7, don't put the force feedback to 10. Reduce it to half. If the weight is less, you will feel much better what's actually happening on the road. The question, are there any buttons double mapped on the Series 2 wheel? For the G920, yes. Of course, because you don't have that many functioning buttons. For the G29, no. All of these are single mapped. You will find the mapping on the product page. It's all there. We've made one for the 920 and for the 29. The 923 Xbox we have yet to make. We haven't made that yet, but we will. If people like it that much, if we have enough demand for it. Okay, what else is there to show? I can show you the acrylics that we do, laser engraved, so you can pick your team. We have all teams represented now. The bigger teams, we also offer a vinyl sticker, so you can have a sticker, or if you prefer, on the back side, if you peel this off, you can go, you can swap around quite easily to just have carbon fiber, because these are actual carbon fiber plates. So this isn't some plastic or some fake stuff. So yeah, you can have that. And I'll just show you, this is pretty simple. You don't have to, but you can if you want to just flip it around, and then it just jumps in here, pluck, and it's in there. Simple as that. Right, yeah. Any more questions? Anything else you'd like to know about the F1S? Otherwise, I'll be wrapping it up. I've been talking for more than an hour already. Do I need to screw the wall mount into the wall? Well, you can glue it onto the wall if you prefer. It's up to you. I mean, yeah, it's called a wall mount because most people like mounting their wheels on the wall, right? And it fits quite nicely with our quick release because it's the other part. But you don't have to screw it in. If you want to, you can, I don't know, glue it onto the wall with double-sided tape or something. That's pretty straightforward. But it has mounting points. So on the back side of the wall mount, I don't have one here to show you right now, but it basically has mounting points for 2 bolts and screws. You just screw it in. That's not a problem. Some people mount it onto their aluminum profile rig. So if you have one of those rigs or something similar, you can have it on the side of the rig by putting it in the ridge. Yeah, you can use double-sided tape. I don't see why not. If the tape's strong enough, if your wall is doesn't have problems with tape holding onto it, yeah, there's some pretty strong 3M tape now. You can mount mirrors and all kinds of stuff onto it, so it's not a problem. Okay, right then, I think I've pretty much said everything there is to this wheel. If you have any other questions, we have a fantastic community on Discord. When I'm not online or any one of my team isn't online, we have some really good guys there that are complete fans and know everything about our hardware. And if you have any suggestions to what you would like to see in terms of development or modifications, or if you have any general ideas about where you'd like us to go with our sim racing stuff, it'd be really cool if you join our Discord. We've got, I think, about 800 people on there already, so it's not a small community. And if you need any support for any of our mods, it's a good place to go and get questions and get answers to your questions. Right, that's it. I think I'll wrap up. If you have questions for the quick release, we have an FAQ in our support section, frequently asked questions. That'll clear that up. Obviously, we have a deal where you can buy the wheel together with a quick release set. Lots of people want to have that option so that they're not stuck to an F1 wheel. And that's why we recommend that as a package, but it's up to you. There's a discount if you get it. Otherwise, you can just go for the wheel on its own. That's all you need. Okay, it's been a pleasure. And I hope to see you all guys at another stream when we when we present another product. All right then, have a good one.